So we got some police up ahead. There are 2 cops going into the middle of the road. This is really, my heart's kind of thumping right now.
Good day.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Good.
Yeti and coffee. Good combination. Well, good morning. It is a totally new day. It is about 7 o'clock here, Saturday morning, and I am doing an emergency parts run for 4 hours. One way. So I got a 8-hour day ahead of me here just doing a parts delivery. So why am I doing this? Well, good customer of mine has a emergency hot load that's leaving first thing Monday morning, and the part they needed to get out there. I found out about 4 o'clock on Friday they need this part, and all the freight companies promise next business day, but not next day, being Saturday. So Andy the Kenworth Guy to the rescue, I guess. I don't know. No, just looking after my customers. So it's what I do sometimes. So yeah, gonna go for a day. It's actually gonna be today the nicest day that we've seen this spring so far this year. It's gonna be 22 degrees Celsius. And but what might be interesting about this day is, one, I brought my camera equipment, and we'll see what kind of sights I can see along the way. 2, our province is in a total lockdown right now, and the province beside us, Ontario, is also in a total lockdown, but they are actually not letting people into their province unless it's essential service. Well, I'm hopeful that they're gonna see my case and agree with me. So we'll see how that goes going through the border. I'm sure it's gonna go fine, but I know semi-trucks are going through, but 4-wheelers are having a little bit of issues, from what I've been told, getting sent back. But I have the part in the truck, I have the paperwork indicating I work at a place that is deemed essential service, and I have the invoice for the part, so I think I'll be fine. But it could be a little bit of drama, which I'm okay with, but I just hope it doesn't get too salty, that's all. So yeah, this is my day. No truck review today. But what I want to tell you guys is a little bit about my story. I have no idea if you'd be interested in hearing about that. But, you know, when I have a long drive like this ahead of me, try and keep myself occupied doing something. And I'm essentially talking to myself right now. So sit back, grab a coffee, grab your favorite beverage, and if you want to hear a story about where I kind of got my start, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. All right, so basically, as some of you may know, my dad started driving a truck way back in the day when I was just a wee lad. And one day he was approached by the manager, the store owner of Kenworth in Winnipeg, to come and sell trucks. I think it was 1987. And anyway, so in 1987 or so, my dad, Dean, actually started selling trucks. He drove Kenworth trucks before that. So I was born in the early 80s, 81 actually, and so when I was about 6 years old is when I was exposed to the Kenworth dealership, but I was exposed to trucks as a young boy. And I remember going on trips with my dad, delivering trucks with my brother and sister. We were in the back of the bunk, rolling around. We loved clover leaves because we just curl up in a ball and roll across the sleeper. Well, times have changed. Can't do that nowadays. But anyhow, moving along. When I was about 10 or 11 years old, I wanted to earn some money. So I started a little company called Andy's Yard Maintenance Company, and I only had one customer, and that was custom truck sales, the Kenworth dealership. What I would do is I'd go in on a Saturday with my dad, and I would go around the yard with a weed eater or weed whacker. I would cut the weeds down along the fence line. I would pick up garbage and keep the yard nice and tidy. And we had a giant parking lot. We still do, same parking lot. But I would actually sweep it by hand with about a 3-foot wide broom. And I did it a couple of times. Basically, the few times that I did it, I would get huge blisters and bloodied hands on that. So that's kind of how I got my first job working at the Kenworth dealership when I was in my early tweens. So I did that for a few summers, and obviously watching my dad selling trucks, I kind of wanted to follow in his footsteps and do the same thing. My dad was successful, still is, and I'm like, hey, if my dad is successful, I want to be successful too. So I just kind of worked towards sales jobs. So I worked at when I was about 15, I ended up getting a job selling fruit on the side of the road, those little BC fruit trucks. So I did that for a few summers. Also, while working when I was 16 at the Esso gas station and pump gas, did that for a little while, and while going to high school. And then I got my first real sales job selling, I worked at Future Shop selling, being a customer service rep. But I was exposed to all sorts of people selling computers and TVs, and I'm like, oh, I want to do that. That'd be awesome. And so while working there, I did that, and then I got a job after that, working for a little bit more money as a delivery driver for the local lumber yard. So I would go around and deliver finished products like baseboards, doors, door jambs, those types of things to new home builds. So I did that for about 6 months, and it was hard, very hard work, lifting heavy K3 board, 4x8 sheets of particle board, 1/4 inch thick. Some of them were thicker, and you carry 3 or 4 of those at a time. So that was a tough job. And then after that, I got a job working as a delivery driver for a water bottle delivery company. So those big 5-gallon jugs, put them up on my shoulder, and I would go and deliver those. So did that when I was about 18 or 19, I think, 17 or 18. So I did that for 6 months, and while doing a delivery at a local Canadian electronics store, one of the managers there on the spot offered me a job. So I thought, wow, that's kind of cool. And so I got like my first sales job. Well, I guess the BC Fruit Truck was sales, but selling computers for a company called A&B Sound. And so I did that for just over 2 years. So 2 years of 2.5 years doing that. And then after that, I went to college. I actually quit my job and went to college for a year. Took a course on sales, just more or less to get a certificate. Graduated with honors. It's one of the things you see in my office there, hanging up on my wall. But anyways, so after that, I went to a hardwood floor store, working as a sales guy, selling hardwood floors to various home builders or homeowners, and did that for a couple of years until there was an opportunity for me to come in and become a used truck and medium duty truck sales guy at Kenworth. So that was in my early 20s. I believe I was 23 when I started, 2005. So 23, 24, kind of in that range. January 2005, I would have been 24. And so I started at Kenworth selling medium duty and used trucks. And I did that for quite a few years, like 4 or 5 years. And I drove a lot of miles. I drove all over the province. I went knocking on water bottle delivery companies, lumber yards, because I was familiar with those areas, familiar with those types of customers. And then, going through phone books, combing through, looking for all the different potential customers in various segments, home movers, piano movers, all those types of things. So anything a medium duty truck would go into. Now at the time, we didn't really have a truck that had the axle capacities that we needed for our region to sell them as a dump truck. But in working with a few different customers on medium duty, they wanted me to build them dump trucks. So that was before we had the T4 series trucks. So I had to sell some T800s to some customers with heavy front axle, and I started selling some of those. So I was graduating into vocational sales. So I started selling trucks with PTOs to customers. So I couldn't sell highway tractors, but PTO trucks. So tow truck companies, gravel companies, septic companies. So I would start selling bigger trucks like that. Well, started getting established with some of these vocational customers who have highway tractors that pull end dumps. So I'm starting to sell bigger trucks and getting experience and exposure to those types of applications. And those guys have logging trucks and they want to build a logging truck with me. So then I'm starting to build those. And at the time, one of our longtime sales guys, Reggie Wallace, he ended up retiring. And I put my hand up immediately saying I want his territory. And that was Northwestern Ontario. So that was my first exposure to full product line in my own territory. So I still had my medium duty customers, I still had my vocational customers, and now I have a territory. It's a big territory physically, but a small population, so lots of driving to get to those customers. But I really combed through that area, got well known, and I've covered that territory for probably 11 years, 10 or 12 years, in that range. And I've looked after, that's actually where I'm going right now, out to Northwestern Ontario. So I love that area. I go camping in that area every summer. Hopefully we can do that this summer. But anyway, so I did that, and did that for a few years. And then there was some staffing changing within our company, and then there was an opening to take over a territory in Manitoba. So again, I put my hand up saying, hey, I want to sell trucks in this territory. So that's basically when I got exposure to line haul trucks, because this territory in Manitoba has some fleets that have, highway tractors, no PTOs, not vocationally driven, just line haul over the road trucks. So I covered that area, south central Manitoba, and I actually covered up to the Saskatchewan border. So I basically had a huge southwestern corner of Manitoba and northwestern Ontario. And then we got a dealership established in Brandon, and then we decided to kind of hack my Manitoba territory in half, give half of the territory to the Brandon guy, and the other half was mine. So I had that area for probably 5 or 6 years, I think 7 maybe. And about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, we hired a guy to take over a territory because another gentleman that worked with us, Jimmy Bednar, he retired. And so basically what we were faced with was a decision to either give this new guy a new territory. He was new to truck sales and new to the area, or he actually had family and friends that he grew up with in my territory. So what we did was I said, okay, well, why don't we give this guy my territory in Manitoba, and I'll take Jimmy Bednar's territory over. I have experience, but I don't know any of the people there, but I know how to work and kind of meet new people and get in that market. So that's what I did. And so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at now. I have this southeastern corner of Manitoba, which butts up to my Ontario market, and that's kind of my Manitoba sales area. Now, all the while all that's going on, I'm growing my social media networks. About 7 years ago, 6 years ago, I've had some customers that were like, hey, can I send me some pictures on the truck? Like, you know what, why don't I just, instead of doing pictures, why don't I make a video? And so if you go back on my channel here and look at the very first video that I did, it's of a W900 with no exhaust stacks on the top. I'm driving the truck through the rain, and I sent that video to the customer just to show them. Like, instead of just sending bland, basic pictures, why don't I just try and put a little bit of sizzle on this truck? So I did that video, and I thought it was kind of a neat idea, and that was that. And life carried on. Then I went back one day and looked at that video, and it was at like 40,000 views. I was like, what? That's crazy. I can't believe it. I just made that video for that one guy. So I made a couple more videos of just like our stock trucks that we had sitting around, and those are again my first ones. So a couple years went by, and meanwhile I'm still growing my Facebook, personal Facebook account with customers in my territory is kind of what I was doing. And then after that kind of started, I was downstairs in my basement with my wife, and we decided I want to take it to the next level, like of, having more of a social media presence. I had this idea, I wanted to do this cross-platform social media presence. what do we call it? And my wife actually came up with the name, the Kenworth Guy. And I was like, Andy Kenworth Andy. No, that doesn't work, you know. Andy the truck guy. No. Andy the Kenworth Guy. Huh. Andy the Kenworth Guy. And I got thinking, you know what? I remember being in customer shops when they would say, you know, the phone would they'd answer the phone, and I was standing in their shop with them, and they would say, yeah, blah blah blah. No, I'm just talking to the Kenworth Guy here, but like the Kenworth salesman. But oh, the Kenworth Guy. Okay, yeah. So I know lots of other sales guys out there are referred to as the Kenworth Guy or their Kenworth salesman. And I'm like, that's a really catchy thing. I like that. So that's how it stuck. And then kind of the rest is history. Just kind of grown the channel, grown the platform, and had fun doing it. And yeah, we're just trucking along here. So yeah, we are making our way here. So let's change it up and just see what the scenery is like. Extra stickers on my truck, inland stickers, just to kind of make it look more like a company truck. Not that I'm sneaking or doing anything illegal, it's just I don't want to be hassled here. Oh, so we got some police up ahead. There are 2 cops going into the middle of the road. Okay, so this is, should I make a run for it? Yeah, and have like 15 cops come chasing me? Yeah, no. This is really, my heart's kind of thumping right now. Hello, sir. How are you?
Good. Coming from, going to?
Coming from Winnipeg, going to Dryden, delivering parts to a customer, okay, and then heading back to Winnipeg.
Okay, and you're
with Inland Kenworth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
Right on. Thank you.
Have a safe drive.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Was easy. Oh boy, those stickers worked. Right on. I am doing official business, but yeah, okay, there we go.